Hello.
Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Julian Ruck, and I own First Church of Music LLC, which owns that lot.
Church of Music.
Yes, sir.
You a musician?
Yep. Since I grew up in this town,
Oh, wow.
I was in Northern's high school band in the 90s.
Okay.
Actually, Don will speak. Yeah.
Okay, yep, that's fine.
He's got an ounce of
All right. We have paperwork here, number 20. All right. 1423 vacant lot, Lapeer Avenue, case number E220079. And John, what we got here?
Yes, Your Honor, this is for an unpermitted accessory building on a vacant lot.
Okay. Let's see. Looks like a big plastic shed.
Correct, sir.
All right, Mr. Rock.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. If you don't mind, I'd like to start, while he's under oath, with a short series of yes or no questions for Don Egypt. Just
No, I want you to tell me what he's told me what this is a structure, unpermitted structure on a vacant lot, so you need to tell me what's the justification. You do, either there's a permit, or the ordinance says it's okay, or what?
Okay. Have you seen the pictures of the lot, the garden as well?
Well,
Are you
I'm
aware?
looking at a structure,
Uh-huh.
it looks like for lack of a better word, a big Rubbermaid shed.
Mm-hmm.
On a lot. Is there, my understanding, you can't have a structure without a residence.
That is the code. I'm not going to argue that.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what I'm here to discuss. Last summer, Don Egypt issued a series of citations against us on that lot.
The same issue?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. There's a free food urban farm on that lot that I've installed and have been feeding dozens of families in the community and teaching children how to garden since the beginning of last year. Everybody who's seen it has said it's beautiful. You said that the goal here is to make it cleaner, safer, more attractive Port Huron. When I bought the lot, it had tire tracks all over it. I found needles. I found dirty clothes. Now, it's capable of growing over 5,000 pounds of fresh produce for free for the neighborhood every year. Okay? When I came to dispute the citations last summer, under oath, Don Egypt acknowledged that he told me in person when I tried to speak to him in person about it, that's why you don't garden in the city. He admitted he said that, and he's made it very clear that he's against gardening inside Port Huron city limits. Well, I'm an urban farmer, so naturally, we're gonna have some conflict. The judge last summer suspended all fines and encouraged me to keep going. When he suspended the fines, the greenhouse was on the lot.
Okay.
And the fines were initially attributed because of open storage, because we had garden tools out and cardboard before we could put it under the garden for a weed barrier. So then we brought in a storage space. This citation for the storage shed that we currently have was only recently issued. It's been there since last summer.
Right.
And a judge
January 12th.
Right, exactly. And the judge last time, sorry, Your Honor, the last time I was here, the judge reviewed a video of the garden space and said it looks great. It looks better than it ever has, and encouraged me to keep going while the greenhouse was on the lot. Now, I understand that I have been fined $100 for having that, but the greenhouse isn't going anywhere.
Well, it is, it can stay if you get bring it within the code, you've already admitted it's not against the code. We're not talking about whatever ticket was last summer. We're here today on a ticket that was issued.
Right.
January 12th.
And my argument is since the summer of 2020, I've been approaching the planning department, messaging David Haynes, messaging James Freed, who told me he greenlit everything we've been doing, says it's been going great. He encouraged us, he even got us some wood chips one time. So I've been petitioning for urban ag zoning for almost 2 years in this community.
Okay.
And eventually, stuff I was doing is going to bump up against the code in ways that don't really fit. This is on paper a vacant lot. It's not a vacant lot. There will never be a house on it. I know that technically it's a vacant lot,
Okay.
but it's not vacant because it's full. It has a garden. Now I understand there's nothing in the code that allows for that, but the code was written in 2013. We've had a lot happen in this country and in the world since, and nobody in this room can accurately guess what Port Huron is going to be like a year from now. Nobody. It's the most uncertain future in our lives,
These are policy discussions that would be probably addressed.
which I have tried repeatedly. So I'm here. I drove 10 hours to be here this morning from Kentucky, where I'm starting a sister garden for this garden. We have people all over the country donating to this. I just finished writing a book about Polly's Place, okay? So this is very public. I'm gonna be driving 10 hours back to Kentucky, and I came here today, threefold purpose: to try to get the fine suspended, to have a public voice, because when I email people, I don't get responses. When I go to the planning department, I don't get responses. Right here, right now is the only time that we can speak publicly and officially on our behalf and have it be heard. So that's why I drove here. And the third,
I do want to intervene on that, sir, because when he was here the previous enforcement was dismissed. That being said, there was an expectation that the property was going to be maintained. That was clearly noted, and that he had to be within compliance. So he's not wrong in saying that. I don't know if encouraged, I think that's a strong word, but he was not discouraged from doing it, but he had to be following code. And what you're not understanding, Julian, is that we have residents whose health are compromised and who want to put visqueen around their porches so that they can sit on the porch and smoke. But our ordinance doesn't allow for that. So they're not able to do that. So now you want visqueen to be wrapped around the shed, and you want special because you're feeding the community, and you're wanting our residents not to have to adhere to the rules that you want to break. It's just that visqueen cannot stay there, and you were told that, and you were told the property had to be maintained.
and I did, and I was told I needed to cover the greenhouse, because at that time it wasn't, and then I covered it. Now, I let you speak.
I'm not.
Okay, so we covered the greenhouse. We were encouraged to keep going. The judge dismissed the fines with the structure on the property, with the agreement that we would cover it, and we did. Again, I'm not saying we are not against code. I know we're against code. I'm saying the code does not serve the community in this case.
Okay, but see, I don't have the authority to change the code.
Again, this is the only place I can say this and be heard. No, when people do not respond to my emails, how am I supposed to get?
I would suggest you file a petition with the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance. If you're in violation of code, but there's a reason, the Zoning Board of Appeals can give you a variance to allow you to do something that would otherwise be against code. That's the procedure for that. I don't have the authority to do that. If I find a violation and you've told me, yeah, it's in violation, I don't have much choice other than to find you in violation. But I would love to give you an opportunity to get this straightened out. I applaud what you're trying to do. I know your heart's in the right place, but I've got an inspector saying this shed is against code, violates the code, and we're all in agreement on that.
Yep.
So I can't change the code.
Oh, I understand that.
And by the way, we dismiss cases all the time. I understand your case last year was dismissed. I've dismissed a number last month. That doesn't mean there's not other violations, and each day they could write you a ticket every single day if they wanted to. Fortunately, they're not, but that would be a little unreasonable. But the reason we're here is strictly for a shed on a vacant lot that violates the code.
What my planning director, he's out with health issues, but what my planning director had advised was, yes, it is a great area. It's something, Julian's not the only person in the community that wants to do urban farming, and it's certainly something that they need to get a handle on, and that's something that he'll be looking at in the spring. That being said, the structure in and of itself, I think, there's grace. It's the condition in which the structure is being kept and the property is being kept that continues to be a problem. And you're using it as a storage facility in the winter. That's not, you're not just gardening and giving away free food and like trying to,
Yes, we are. There's food growing right now. In fact, Kim, who's here right now, has been eating off our garden more recently. There's spinach right now on it.
This is a storage facility, and it's not even supposed to be there, but we're trying to give you grace. And now you are, of course, pushing the envelope. We told you you could keep that there, but you had to keep it in proper condition. You've tarped it, and now you've got
It's
pseudo
not tarped.
storage. There's Visqueen, and you create a pseudo storage unit, and that's not permitted.
What is a pseudo storage unit?
What's behind the Visqueen?
It's a storage unit.
Correct.
So it's not pseudo anything.
Okay, so that's not permitted. That's not what.
And I'm not arguing against that. Again, I have messaged David Haynes. I've messaged everybody, and nobody until Mr. Fulmer here has told me, well, you need to apply for a variance for zoning, etc. And this is 2 years now.
The zoning
Can I
board can't do
speak
that.
up on this, please? You won't get a variance. I'm on the zoning board. They will not give you a variance because the ordinance states only a suitable storage shed can be used. This is not a suitable storage shed.
What is unsuitable about it? It's locked.
It is covered in visqueen.
It is not covered. There's a front portion that has clear plastic on it.
Take the plastic off and do it correctly.
So what, glass?
Permit.
Get a permit, which you have to have a permit for a storage shed. Give me a plan, what you're going to do, and then cover it with T111, siding. I don't care what you use.
A greenhouse has to have clear.
Would a permit be issued if he applied without a variance?
Yes, vacant lots you're not supposed to, but in this case, because it's a community garden, I can overrule that.
Okay.
I'm the authority for overruling
Okay.
on vacant property.
Okay. I appreciate that. So you're telling me that if I put a different facade on the front,
Correct.
that I could apply for a permit and you would back that up?
Correct.
Okay.
So you would allow this structure, or he would have to
No,
create a
you would
different?
have to come up with a plan for me to see what you're going to do.
Okay. Okay, great. I'm sorry, sir. I don't know your name.
Marvin?
Marvin, last name?
Shagney, we met.
Okay.
Before,
Okay.
that you own on the property.
Oh,
You wanted to put up
the fence?
fencing.
Yes, okay, sorry with the, yeah. Yeah, now I recognize you, yeah, thank you. Okay, so can I communicate directly with you through email to have this resolved then?
Here's the other problem you're running into, Julian, and I'm gonna give you a heads up. You're putting out on social media that you're donating food and you're getting an income. You can't be making money in that residential area on this. If it's a community garden, you're feeding the community, great.
I'm not making an
But
income.
at any point in which it starts becoming a profiting
Can I keep
opportunity.
it?
It's not a profiting, I don't make any
Well,
income.
there's-
I have a day
social media
job.
would suggest otherwise, so just
We
be
do
aware.
accept donations. When we give food, about every third or fourth person slips us $20-$40 to help cover the cost of the prior people.
Sure, donations, but
Yeah,
just be aware
no,
that.
I don't have an income off that property, other than perhaps the book I just wrote, which I'm certainly allowed to do, right?
Okay, let's adjourn this to April, which would be April 28th.
Okay,
You get with Mr. Shagney and come up with a plan, and
I got it. April 28th, you said?
April 28th.
All right, thank you.
cost at this point, let's, hold that, see if we get this figured out. If you get a permit and get this resolved, we can make it go away.
I appreciate very much everybody helping me work through that.
All
Thank
we
you.
want, that's what we're here for. We're not trying to beat you up, we just gotta,
I know you're not. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, in case you couldn't hear all of that, and I understand you may not have been able to hear what was being said to me, basically, consistent conflict with, Don Egypt's assessment, with Stacy, last name I don't know, the judge, the presiding person saying that, it's still against code. So we were pretty much at an impasse where I was like, well, then I'm paying a fine because the greenhouse isn't going anywhere. And one of the other gentlemen, Marvin, I don't want to say his last name because I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it's Schwagner, perhaps. Marvin, who's part of the planning department, offered me a lifeline. He threw out, if we get the front permitted and everything done better for the space, that he would, on the planning committee, overrule the code violation. So basically protecting us. So we went from you cannot have a storage shed on the property at all to replace the front and make it look nice. And let's get it permitted and we'll be fine. Again, thanks to Marvin for that. He gave me his card, and we're going to reconvene in April 28th, I believe. So I'd say we won. Looks like we're going to get to keep the greenhouse.